I think sometimes it's a bit frustrating because everything's sort of reduced to like cute furniture inspired by local desserts. When I come up with stuff, it's like this understanding that like not everything has to be fed into this like capitalist machine. Some things can be just my own creativity kept private, and then I decide like what I want to make money off of. Especially Studio Kallang is like so tied to my identity and my personal heritage. Like I'm very wary of becoming more of a brand than a person.
Hello everyone, my name is Nadya Wang and I'm director of the cultural agency Front and Off Centre. Welcome to Upfront with Front and Off Centre, where we speak with guests about their creative practices. In this first season, we talk to entrepreneurs in Singapore and learn how they get things done. Today's guest is Faezah Shaharuddin, a multi-disciplinary designer and founder of Studio Kallang, whose work explores cultural nuance, memory, and craft, primarily through furniture and object design. Faezah's work has been featured in Monocle, Female, Vogue, L'Officiel, and Architectural Digest. Her visual communication work has been published in the Type Directors Club's World's Best Typography and exhibited at the Cooper Union in New York City. She has also designed custom pieces for Diptyque and Charles & Keith, while Studio Kallang's pieces have been shipped to clients worldwide via stockists such as SSENSE, First Dibs, and Adorno. She is also represented by Gallery Filia. Her work has most recently been exhibited at Milan Design Week 2025. I am a proud owner of an on-day mirror from Studio Kallang, which brings me joy every day, and I look forward to learning about Faezah's practice in this conversation. Hello Faezah.
Hi.
It is good to chat with you. To start, how would you describe your multifaceted creative practice?
Yeah, so I think my practice is focused on exploring, like you mentioned in the bio, cultural nuance, craft, and memory. And I'm quite interested in contributing to this idea of a modernism that's rooted in Asia, but with a global diasporic point of view.
Okay. And could you speak about your education in school or elsewhere that planted the seeds of your creative practice?
Yeah, I think it definitely started at home with my parents. Like they were always really supportive creatively. Mm-hmm. And I think because they have a background in academia, so it was quite normal at home to talk about like art and politics and culture and all of that like quite casually. So I think that kind of exposed me to a lot of things creatively. And then they loved like collecting books and objects and all of that. So yeah, I was always like surrounded by like just piles of books on like art, like philosophy, design, or like decolonial theory and all of that. So I think that shaped like my creative foundations, right? Like ideologically. And then eventually like my mom went into business, right? She started a furniture business. And so it's sort of like seeing like all the theory that we talked about at home, but like in practice, like in the real world. So I got to see like things in practice, you know, like design in a practical environment, like what people were buying, what people were interested in, and the production side of things. So in a sense, like my schooling was at home and like, you know, following my mom around as a kid. And I think, to be honest, like, I don't think formal education really like impacted me that much because I, you know, didn't go to like art school. I just went to like regular Singaporean schooling. So it was more just the environment of like what schooling in Singapore put me in, like my friends and stuff. And then I left Singapore for the US for college. And I think that gave me like a wider perspective on like what art and design could be and like what it could achieve. So yeah, I think it's just like a mix of like all of that that like gave me like my point of view.
Sounds like your formative years were really informed by your parents' interests.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, and I think it's so interesting that, you know, the exposure that you have complements what you go through in school. And then how did you feel when you went off to college? Did it just, you know, open up everything, or did you also feel this pull still towards Asia and what did you wanted to achieve? And
Yeah. So it was kind of like a boomerang effect, right? Like I left Singapore and it was obviously very exciting because it's like a new environment. It's like a bigger country, and an older art and design scene. So I think for a while I was just like, okay, let me just immerse myself and assimilate, right? And I think the first couple of years was actually a bit rough because you feel a sense of like rootlessness, right? You're plopped as a young, I was like 19, 20, plopped into a new environment, not sure how to navigate things. And it was also very different because in design school, I think American kids, they grow up quite differently. So I think there was this maybe insecurity of like, you know, all these kids grew up like skateboarding and like in underground, doing like cool underground things. And then it's like, okay, I was like this JC kid that like, you know, just did my homework. So I think there was...
I resonate with that very much. I was also a JC kid who did my homework diligently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, am I like creative enough to hack it over here? So I think there was that pressure to just assimilate, right? But I think like as I matured, like I think by my third or fourth year, I think there was this like desire to like, in a sense, like reconnect with like my roots, right? Because you know, I'm not an American kid, right? So it would never feel as authentic. Whatever I put out, it would always feel derivative. So I was like, okay, let me take the exposure and the knowledge and the mental models and all of that, and somehow kind of fuse it with my upbringing and like all the influences from Singapore or growing up in Southeast Asia, because I did travel a lot in like Indonesia and Malaysia, and then kind of turn that into something that felt more authentic. Yeah.
I can see that you were making your own, but I understand that sort of like initial, you know, uncertainty, that unlearning and the learning.
yeah.
I think the unlearning it sounds so important, right? You go to
Yes.
school to
Yeah.
unlearn as
Yeah.
much as you learn. Okay, so tell me about early achievements that gave you impetus to become like a full-fledged creative practitioner.
Yeah. I actually like, I think I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. And I mean, I think the confidence also comes from a background where it's supported. And because of the family business too, like I knew you could use creativity as a valid profession. Like you could have an income off of it and all of that. So, yeah, I mean, I think I owe a lot to my parents for the confidence. And I think anything else just never really appealed to me. Yeah, like non-creative. I mean, I tried considering law for a bit. It wasn't my thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it just didn't resonate. Yeah.
And what did you do in college? Like, what did you make or what did you create that made you feel like, hey, this is, you know, the path I want to go down?
Yeah. I mean, I did several projects. But I think the aha moment studying there was through my own work and like looking at my peers' work, how you can translate identity into a tangible thing that can have an impact on other people. Do you know what I mean? Like it can amplify things that you care about. And I mean, I did all kinds of things. Like there were video projects. So I did a day in the life of my mom as a businesswoman, because the project was to follow someone around for a day and make a film about that. I did a poster on one of the amendments, and then I tied it to like the civil rights movement. and all of that. So I think it was more realizing that design can be a tool for good, right? And a tool of self-expression. So I think that.
Yeah. Even as you're telling me these projects, it sounds like that boomerang effect was still in place, you know, like between your home in Singapore and your new home in the United States, right? You founded Studio Kallang in 2021. I'm sure there was a lot of, you know, motivations and starts and stops in between, but what motivated this move in general?
To start Studio Kallang, right? Okay, so I had graduated, right? And then COVID happened. So I came back to Singapore. And I think everyone was sort of figuring out like how to move forward from there. And I came back from the States and I was having a little bit of trouble and discomfort code switching culturally because I had spent like, you know, all those years abroad and then I'm suddenly back in Singapore and it was like, okay, like what do I do now? I kind of feel like in between both worlds, right? And then COVID, so I was stuck. So I was like, I felt this need to create a practice that marries like all these cultural fragments in my head and I was just trying to make things comprehensible. And then also pragmatically, like obviously I needed an income, right? I need a job. So the options were one, like join the family business, and two, get like a corporate design job, right? So like work for like an Amazon or, you know, like big tech, which is what a lot of my classmates went into, like big tech companies. And like I don't want to do either, right? And then at that point it was like this limbo period. So I was like, you know what, let me just like try and do this and give it my all. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then I'll pick one of the other two. But thankfully it worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did, because if not, we wouldn't have all the wonderful designs that you've created.
Yeah, you can thank COVID.
Oh, I think COVID was a time when we were all trying to figure out what, you know, things meant to us, what was important. And it also gave us some courage to just go for it, right? Okay, what have been encouraging moments as well as challenges in growing and sustaining Studio Kallang?
Yeah. So it was actually very surreal for me because I think within 4 to 6 months of incorporating, it did a lot better than I expected. So I was getting emails from like one, I was getting followers quite quickly. I'm not sure when you found us.
Oh, I think early.
Early, like 2022 probably.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah. So for some reason, that period, I like was gaining followers, like a lot of followers. And then I started getting emails from like really big companies like SSENSE or like Charles and Keith. So I was like, okay, this is, there's something here. And at the same time, I was getting DMs and emails, like very personal emails from people that were really heartwarming. Like, oh, like I love Studio Kallang so much. It's so like great to see someone doing this in Singapore, and it like really resonated with me. So yeah, I think that kind of sealed the deal. I was like, okay, I'm like going to continue this. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were all of these encouragements along the way, and very early at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, talking to my friends. I was like, I can't believe like it's, you know, this stuff is happening so quick.
Was it a little scary in the beginning when everyone was asking you, even though you just started, or did it feel just like, yes, let's go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm someone who works well under pressure. Okay. So I just kind of go for it, you know, so it's, yeah. And, you know, of course, when an opportunity comes, you have to, like, seize it, right? Yes. But I did have some anxiety being in certain rooms because there's no playbook, right? Yeah, I remember my first few calls with, like, these big stockists. I was, like, kind of out of my depth and, like negotiating contracts and stuff. It's, like, you know, something you just have to learn as you go.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Do you feel, I mean, it sounds like it started off really strongly and it has sustained. Yeah. Have there been any challenges, you know, that have thrown you off a little? Or has it just been like, yes, all is fine, everything is golden. Okay, I suspected not. Yeah, could you share a couple of the challenges you've had?
Okay, so I think I started it pretty like fresh-faced and like naive, right? And I wasn't, because I come from a business background, right? Not so much an art world background. So it's like suddenly you're thrust into these like art spaces, right? Like exhibitions or PR or press releases and stuff. So I mean, I think I probably like made a bunch of like faux pas, right? Like not knowing kind of the mechanics of the art world, right? But you kind of gotta get through the cringe sometimes.
I hear you. You just have to be thick-skinned and just like not care too much about what people think.
Exactly.
Because you have to get through it in order to know how it's done. So hear you on that. How have you created new products and retained customers then, since you started 4 years ago?
I think it's still very intuitive for me. I don't have like I have to come up with like 5 products by this month. I don't have like a set schedule. It's more like I come up with things as I go. And the good thing is like my initial collection sells pretty consistently. So it's sort of the bread and butter of the studio, right? So it gives me the bandwidth to have time to think about new stuff. Like I don't really have the pressure of like, okay, I have to come up with like a new collection or a new thing by this date. It's not like the fashion calendar, right? You have like spring, summer. So I just kind of come up with stuff, and it's this constant sorting of like whether something will do well commercially or not. I think out of like maybe like 50 ideas I have, maybe like only 1 or 2 actually get made, because not everything's commercially viable, and that's fine. Like I think you don't have to monetize everything that you come up with. And then in terms of retaining customers, I think just being like a decent person, like just being
so important.
It's like quite simple. Like you just have to be pleasant and deliver. Obviously, be pleasant and deliver. And then I also think that once people buy into the world that you're creating, it's not so much about the product. Like their loyalty comes from just like buying into the values that underpin your practice and like the world you're creating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, sounds like a winning formula.
Yeah. And then I think the word formula too is a bit tricky, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes, because I think what wins people over is authenticity, right? So I think it's like, it's been tougher recently because as you get more commercial, right, you can come off less authentic because there's this pressure to be really polished, right? But I don't know, I like try to maintain some of the messiness sometimes so it doesn't seem like a sterile brand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still human-centered. You're at the center of it.
Yeah.
And I think what is interesting to me about creative entrepreneurship is that it almost seems like they don't go hand in hand, because there's the creativity and the commercial viability. So I wonder how you maintain the two. Is it with that messiness that you talk about, or how do you think about both parts?
Yeah, I think it's setting boundaries.
Okay.
I think like so when I come up with stuff, it's like this understanding that like not everything has to be fed into this like kind of capitalist machine, right? Like some things can be just my own creativity kept private, right? And then I decide like what I want to make money off of. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think it keeps you sane. Like it keeps, especially Studio Kallang is like so tied to my identity and my personal heritage, right? Like I'm very wary of becoming more of a brand than a person. I think that's when it kind of sucks the soul out of it.
Yeah, it's a fine line because I don't know, sometimes it gets conflated, right? Your brand and you.
Yeah.
but they have to go hand in hand and you have to feed each other.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
In terms of boundaries, I mean, you don't work alone, am I right? Just say that you have collaborators, you have your team. So could you tell us who you work with so that your creative practice can thrive? And it could be your core team, collaborators.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest collaborators I have are like the craftspeople I work with, because without them, I literally wouldn't be able to make anything. I'm not a craftsperson. I'm not like making the chairs, so they're the most important group. I also don't, have my background's in visual communication, right? Not industrial design, so I don't have very in-depth technical knowledge, right? So when it comes to like joinery or like the actual welding or the structure and stuff, like they fill in the gaps for me. So there's that collaboration. I have a team that I work with in Singapore, and it's a few young designers and like warehouse logistics people. My husband's our project manager. Yeah, I mean that's my team, and we mostly do things in-house. Yeah, we don't really do a lot of outside like brand collaborations per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a good team going here. And do you have a team or people you work with in the States as well, or mostly here?
Mostly here.
Okay, and the craftspeople are also based
in Indonesia.
In Indonesia, okay. Did they come through your family's business as well?
Yeah. So it's funny because they've seen me since I was like a kid, basically. So for a while it was sort of like, trying to assert myself a bit, right? Like, okay, I'm not a kid anymore. Like I run this thing, like, but also like they're pretty much like family, which is nice to work with.
Okay. Cool. So in effect, I mean, all the foundation that was laid as a child through your family, through the family business, has also helped to set your business up for success.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Studio Kallang, I don't see Studio Kallang as an island, right? It's more an expression of, like a continuation of things.
Faezah, what is one assumption or stereotype about running Studio Kallang that you could address?
Yeah, okay. I think I think sometimes it's a bit frustrating because I think everything's sort of reduced to like cute furniture inspired by local desserts. But there's there's a lot more depth in my references and everything. So that's just like a frustrating thing. But I also understand that sometimes things have to be comprehensible, right? Like we talked about the balance between commercial and creative. So I understand why it happens. Yeah, that's just a minor thing. And then I think there's also this like, sometimes people only see the gloss on it, right? They think it's like this very glamorous like designer life, but actually it's like it's quite the opposite, right? It's like mostly like production grit. I'm like sweating in like rural Indonesia, but people don't really see that side. So yeah, just the perspectives of things.
Well, then you should do more interviews and talk about all of these things, and then people will get it. But I think your consumers probably understand where you're coming from, and they want a piece of that in their homes.
Yeah.
Because it resonates with them.
Yeah, I think intuitively they know there's like something under there,
I really love my on-day mirror. Every morning I look into it. Look at it.
The big one?
No, I have the small one. And it's together with
the black and...
Yes. To me, that's the OG. And I remember that I was like saving up for it, and it's together with other things that other creative practitioners have made. So it feels really nice to look at it and just think about how there is creativity here. What do you wish for Studio Kallang to achieve next?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have a set schedule, right? But we just got a studio in New York. So I'm just hoping that we can kind of expand the world of Studio Kallang, and building a bigger community around it.
I love that there's a Studio Kallang in New York. So like a piece of Singapore there in the name as well. Actually, why Kallang?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, I love.
Should have asked that at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So one, the warehouse is in Kallang, right? And it's also shared with Second Charm Gamar, right? So I basically grew up there in like this industrial estate since I was a teenager, so sentimentality there. But then at the same time, Kalang's not like a glamorous neighborhood. It's like very industrial, old school Singapore. And I think I wanted to challenge this idea that like high end furniture or high end art and high design has to have some sort of like Western lean. You know what I mean? Like if something is fancy, it has to have like an Italian name or something. I you know, like why not name something Studio Kallang and have it still exist in like, you know, like verified spaces and have the same, have traditional craft be elevated to the same levels of prestige while maintaining your grounding. Like,
Yeah, the
culturally.
decolonial theory books
Yeah,
came in
yeah.
into that. I agree. I think it's also about, to me, I feel that it's a sense of ownership. I think the name really attracted me at the beginning as
Really?
well, because it just said I am confident that it works, that it comes from Singapore, proudly Singaporean. So thank you for that. And I want to ask something a little more personal. What does work-life balance look like to you as a business owning creative practitioner?
Like in all honesty, I have no delineation between work and life. Like I think my life is my work, and I enjoy it. You know, so it's like, you know, where I am, who I'm around, what I consume, like that all goes into it. So I don't really turn off and on like I'm working now and then I go home and I turn off. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking
I'm sure you
recently.
get that.
Yeah, I've been thinking recently about how actually the idea of work-life balance is what makes me feel imbalanced.
Exactly. Yeah.
That dichotomizing,
Yeah.
which is quite strange.
Yeah.
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 Okay, and how do you try to at least feel like you're keeping things in balance in some way? What is it that you do, or do you switch off in any way sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that boundary setting that we talked about just now, right?
Okay.
Like not everything has to be commercial, right? Like sometimes it's hard to set that boundary. Like sometimes I'm watching a movie and I'm really enjoying it, and it's like, oh, like that's a cute ottoman. Like maybe I can like it's like no, I can just enjoy this movie, without trying to think of like how it could be something like a new design or something.
Okay, I hear that. And what core values have kept you grounded in your creative practice?
Yeah. I think I care a lot about staying rooted in where I come from. And I very much believe that progress and success without that sense of rootedness kind of means nothing. So I kind of use that as a guiding light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. We talked earlier about you watching a movie, so I'm gonna ask you now a few rapid fire questions to end. Could you tell us about something you have read, watched, listened to, or seen recently that has nourished you?
So I just watched Caramel by Nadine Labaki. She's a Lebanese filmmaker, and I loved it because it portrays like early 2000s Beirut. But I think what's radical about it is it doesn't talk about like the war or the conflict. It's just about like the personal lives and personal problems of these like Lebanese women in this like slightly rundown beauty salon. And it deals with like like very feminist themes, and also themes around tradition and aging and how they navigate like society while trying to maintain their sense of self. And I relate a lot to it because it's like stuff that I personally deal with as well. And it's just also such a like visually beautiful film. like early 2000s Lebanon, like the colors and the textures and everything. Like even the name of the movie is like caramel. It's like sweet, and nauseatingly like, you know, like, yeah.
Do you tend to watch a lot of movies? Do you also listen to podcasts?
Yeah, I love movies.
Okay.
Like it's like my therapy.
What is your like top favorite? I know I asked you what you watched recently, but do you have like an absolute favorite that you return to time and again?
Yeah, I can't pick.
Too many.
Too many.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm into the Christmas things recently because it's just like coming to December. But anyway, not about me. I want to ask also to end, in a word, what does creativity mean to you?
Transformation. Turning something into something else. Like I think it's that simple. Like I don't think anything's truly original is the thing. Like I think it's always coming from somewhere else, but it's how you turn it into something new.
Nice. Thank you so much, Faezah.
Thank you, Nadya.
I've learned so much about your practice, and I look forward to all that you're going to achieve with Studio Kallang.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.